I've missed you guys. Okay, it hasn't been you, it's been me, for sure. And that's kind of what this video is about. Um, I've been gone away from YouTube for a little bit. I think it's been a little over a month since my last post. And there's a few reasons why. And I wanted to talk about those today, hence the title of the video. Now, one reason is something that happens to me every year, and it's happened to me every year for as long as I can remember. Every late July, August, I feel like I get garden burnout. And it's really difficult to admit because I'm supposed to be like the guy who people come to for gardening advice. And I get that, but I also think, and please let me know in the comments if this happens to you guys too. I can't be the only one. I live for gardening. I mean, I like eat, sleep, and breathe it. But there comes a time, especially in mid to late summer, that I'm just burnt out. And I'm sure the hot weather makes it, it makes it difficult to get out and actually enjoy working in the garden. I still come out and spend time in the garden every day. But actually working and planning, it just comes to a halt for some reason, mid-July. And Noah's off school and we've got things going on as well. And this year I had a huge project that I will show you the finished product later in the video. And maybe it's because we have such a long growing season here in Southern California. We start growing, well, we never really quit growing, actually. And I think that's probably it. When most people get to take kind of their break and recharge in the winter time, it's just as busy practically in the gardens here in our climate. And so maybe summer is our winter where we can just, we don't want to be in the heat. You guys don't want to be in the cold if you're in a cold climate. And we just kind of stay indoors with the AC or just come out and kind of check on things. But to actually get out and work, it's just not pleasant. So that's going to be my rationale for that. Yeah, just came up with that. Our summer is your winter, or vice versa. I'm not sure how that works. But anyway, so that's kind of where I've been. However, even still, I had a project to finish. This gazebo project has been hanging over my head for 2 years. Anybody who's followed me, the last 2 years, you know that. Well, it's finally just about finished. Finished for the most part. I've got the pond installed. I've got the plantings fairly well in. There's a new area that I'm still having to plant. The ceiling of the gazebo I just finished yesterday. Still needs to be stained, but it's up there and I really like the way it looks. And I'll show you that in just a minute. But so that's number one, garden burnout, taking a break. Now that's really no excuse to not put out content. Yes, I was busy. My excuse for not putting out content, and I'm hoping it's more than an excuse, I hope it's a reason. YouTube, I love it. I love you guys. I love the interaction we have on this channel. I love, inspiring people as much as I can, teaching people. But YouTube is kind of my side thing. I have a full-time business that I run. And so, things kind of get busy with that in the summertime. And then we've got vacations and family time. And one of the hindrances to me of putting out regular content, in the summer especially, is my own fault. It's my own need to have everything absolutely perfect. Now, when you have people over to your house, I'm going to guess 99% of you clean the house. You make sure it looks good for the company. And so that's kind of the way I feel when I invite people through YouTube into my garden. It's got to look perfect. No weeds, everything deadheaded, overripe vegetables picked or thrown away. The problem is, if you had to clean your house once or twice a week for guests, you might stop inviting guests over. And I definitely don't want to do that. And so what I'm going to have to do, maybe you can help me with this, is I'm going to have to kind of let go of the need for everything to be perfect. And that's actually why I'm doing a garden tour at the end of this video, because right now the garden is far from perfect. We're coming off of the heat of the summer. We are kind of almost in a transition period to where I'm going to be planting the fall crops. And we have a get together at the house here on Sunday afternoon. That Saturday I'll be kind of cleaning up everything for. So bottom line is, I'm going to try really hard to not worry so much about how perfect the garden looks, or even how perfect my video editing is. I'm not sure how much you care about that. Let me know. I was going to wait on this video until I had the yard perfect for Sunday for our get together, and thought, oh, well, then that would make a great time for a tour. But in ripping the Band-Aid off and trying to really throw myself into this issue, I'm going to show you what the yard looks like 75% of the time. Maybe 65, I don't know. It doesn't look perfect. And as far as the editing is concerned, you know, most, if not all of my videos have been what I would consider well edited for at least my novice experience. And not that I'm a good editor, it's because I spend a lot of time doing that. Whereas I could just get out here with a camera, maybe a selfie stick, maybe a tripod, like I'm doing now, and just walk you through what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing this weekend. Come along. You know, it's not going to be a perfect lighting, perfect everything else, but we're going to get some time together. Now that's not to say that I'm not going to still do edited how-to videos. I mean, that's what brought everyone here. But I'm going to try to move a little bit past that and still have those, but also still try to give regular updates of whatever I'm doing in the garden that day, that weekend, whenever it happens to be. And so that's the plan. But please let me know in the comments, you know, what you guys think about that. I mean, you're the viewers, you know, you've joined up with me and you've come along on this journey so far, and I definitely want to keep going, and I definitely don't want to, you know, let too many things get in the way of the time that we get to be together on the YouTube videos. So that is my list of excuses. I hope they're a little valid at least, but I am working on them. Excuses or not. But now what I want to do is take you through the garden for a quick tour. Some things are doing really well, some things are kind of at the end, and there's a couple things that are struggling. And I'm going to show them all to you. And then at the end, I'm going to show you this project that I have been working on for 2 years, and it is not 100% done, but going right along with what we were talking about, I'm showing it to you anyway. So let's go. All right, talk about bad lighting. It is what it is. Although I'd be lying if I said this wasn't freaking me out right now. So the first thing you've never seen before is the lawn completely unmowed with weeds coming up all over the place. I'm just going to take you on a really quick tropical tour. I know most of you aren't here for that. But first of all, right down here are the papayas that we have been growing together. Doing pretty good. They're going to start slowing down now with more shade that we've got in this area, that there's just no control over that. When they get about 5 or 6 feet tall, they're going to get more consistent sun. So I'm hoping that they'll just move past this. Even though they'll probably grow slow, they will grow. Most of the tropicals start to fade at this time. Well, not most of them, but the cannas for sure. They start to look a little bit more dead. Whitefly becomes an issue. Look at this pond. I need to get the skimmer out here. Plumerias are blooming though. Look at this bloodleaf. I mean, this is enormous. Enormous. And it comes back every year. Cut it back in the wintertime. All right, so now the vegetables. So this bed, after waiting a long time for the peppers, they're finally kind of growing in. We've got the lipstick peppers here. And we've got quite a few peppers on them. These are sweetie drops, and they are tiny little roundish teardrop peppers, and they're really sweet. They're really great pickled. That's where I actually first got them, was at Whole Foods. And so I'm like, I definitely want to try growing those because they are delicious, really delicious. I've got some butternut squash. Got, what, 2, I guess. They were planted late. They've only been in the ground maybe 5 or 6 weeks. Same with the spaghetti squash, even though it's got too much shade and we've got mildew. Whoops. And that looks actually like a dead stem. I probably could harvest it at that size. My first batch of watermelons that were actually growing on this trellis, or meant to grow on this trellis where the spaghetti squash is, they did not make it. And the thing about back here is you've really only got a good couple of months, maybe a month of actual good sunlight before the sun starts to go back, and then the fence and the palm trees start to block the sun on this side. And so the watermelons just did not have the time to start. So I put some more in the ground, and we've got them in this bed here. And I did see a little watermelon somewhere yesterday. And so I'm going to let them trail back this way, because if you see, the shade is moving this way. So we've still got some sun over there, and hopefully it's enough. I've got some Persian cucumbers that I planted a couple weeks ago. They're coming up, and hopefully they'll climb this pole. Anything I can get up high is going to do better, because it's going to move itself into the sunlight, basically. On this side, we've got some bell peppers. I've got red and orange. And the bushes aren't doing as well this year. Last year I had some great, really bushy plants. However, these kale are doing really well. Okay, here you go. You're getting it all, guys. Wood from the project I've been working on. So I'm going to just kind of wade through it. I've got bunching onions here that have kind of gone nuts. I don't know, they might be producing little bulbs at this point. And then the tomatoes. Still got tomatoes, although I can see a rat has gotten to that one. I have not had the traps out in the last week or so, and that's why that's happening. Now I have shortened these tomato plants, and I think I'm going to do a little video on that this weekend as to what I did. But again, on this side, you can see things are starting to get a little diseased because the shade is kind of setting in over here. I'm not going to grow tomatoes over here next year. They did great, but it was a very short season for them. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, these are my loofahs, and this has been one of the most fun things that I have grown this year, and I've got a lot. Look at these up here. Let me show you. I'm going to pick one and show you what this is like inside. All right, so once the loofahs start to brown, we're going to they're really easy to peel. Look, you just put your finger in there, slide it down, just kind of undress them. Look at that. Isn't that cool? It's kind of slimy and wet. If you shake the bottom, there's a ton of seeds. I think I got about 100 seeds out of one of them. And then when they're dry, they look like that. Completely ready to use. All the seeds have been dumped out. They shrink a little, although they're all different sizes and shapes. Definitely something fun. I don't know how many I'm going to use actually as, scrubbers, but we'll see. Okay, the aromas are still producing, but we do have some whitefly coming in. So I don't know if I spray or just realize these are just about done anyway. Now, one of the best things this year that has grown just beyond what I ever thought they could were my scarlet runner beans. And they're one of my favorite plants, especially this year. A lot of times, they would grow like other years when I didn't have the watering system installed and I watered them by hand, which inevitably in the summertime I didn't get out enough. And so I thought just their growth habit was when they reach the top of the trellis, they start to die at the bottom and then die on the way up. Well, when they're watered well, apparently they become a humongous Christmas tree. Can you even see that? How big that is? Is it in there? And not only do I have one, but I have a matching one over here. And you can see, because it's got more sun, it's got more blooms on it. Well, it was actually planted later too, so. Which brings us to this side. Got the strawberry tower, and it's filled in with a lot of green the last couple of months. And runners, which I'm gonna have to train, but got some strawberries coming on as well. The marigolds have gone crazy. And the squash, I've actually taken a few of them out. And I have some mildew I have to take care of on some as well. Now, the growing them vertically has been really great, really great. However, this one, I need to tie up. I've waited too long to tie it up. So by training it up this stick, and I have a video on this, it takes up a lot less space. And I believe it's more productive because it gets the blooms up where the pollinators can see them. And it keeps the fruit off the ground as well. So again, here's the tomatoes. And what I did, because they were up at the very top of this trellis and actually falling over. And so what I did, and I'm going to do this from the beginning next year, I have to get a little system in place to do that, is I took the strings they were growing up, and it's hard to really explain here, but basically instead of the stick or the trunk growing up these strings, I took them off and I just kind of laid them over and then fed them back into the string, and just basically lowering the top of the plant so I can still get some more growth out of it. There's more room for it to produce and not just kind of fall over and break off at the top. Now, that's only really going to work if you have a long growing season. Otherwise, once your tomatoes get to the top of the trellis, it's best to just cut them there and help the fruit below ripen before the cold weather hits. Okay, so now for what, well, I don't know about you. This is something I've been waiting for to show you guys for 2 years now, because it finally means that the hard work is behind me and I can now just enjoy what I've worked on. Now, this is the gazebo. That's kind of the inspiration, if you've ever seen in like Tahiti, they will have over the water bungalows. So no, I wasn't gonna make a guest house out here, but kind of the same idea. It's a gazebo with a pond that's underneath it, basically. So let me show you. I'm going to turn the camera around so you can get a little better view, and then we'll talk a little bit more. All right, here we go, guys. So through the vegetable garden, this wide kind of avenue, it's going to be covered in decomposed granite once I have all the sides in and that delivered. But basically, you walk through the vegetable garden toward the gazebo, and surrounding the gazebo on 3 sides is water. Now the ceiling is what I finished yesterday. It still needs some paint and stain, of course. See if I can widen this out a little bit. There we go. I'm actually really happy with the way this turned out. And depending on the room, my plan is in the middle in that square here to have a fan. It's like a tropical looking fan, so we can kind of keep the air moving under here on those hot days and just be able to sit out here and enjoy the pond. So that's this video, and everything was done without the use of a camera person. Emily didn't have to even come out here. It was done without having to clean up anything. It's kind of liberating, I have to say. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it was not a disappointment after some of my other videos. But please, honestly, I do these for you guys, and I really want to know your feedback. So please, if you stuck with me this long, let me know down below what your thoughts are, what you'd like to see going forward, and I'll see you guys next time.